things that our mothers and grandmothers used to tell us. And I remember that you must be home before Maghrib time. I remember if you drop a fork, then you're expecting a lady or a baby. If you're pregnant and your baby's and you're big in front or whatever it is, and you're expecting a boy and a girl. These are called old housewife tales. Now, old housewife tales are perhaps as old as language itself. They are part of our oral tradition, originating long before pen and ink, books and movies, and certainly before the internet. Why do we cling to such tales about common ailments and our health when we live in a world rich with medical expertise and proven treatments and cures? Some probably have survived through the ages because they offer comforting advice about experiences we all share, have little control over them, and usually worry about, such as childbirth and sickness. Many old wives' tales, especially those surrounding pregnancy and childbirth, have been proven false or irrelevant by advances in medicine and technology. And one example is the use of prenatal ultrasound to detect the sex of a fetus instead of dangling a ring suspended on a string over the expectant woman's belly. And I remember that in the days gone by, they used to ask if, let me tell you what they used to do. They'll take a ring on a string and hang it over the pregnant woman's stomach. And I think if it swings left and right or right and left, it'll tell you whether it's a boy or a girl, right? So that's what we're talking about. And I'm sure all our listeners on 060-904-1056 will have some magnificent old wives' tales that you used to use and you used to do. Zach's. And we're not talking about black magic, Zach. We're not talking about black magic, Zach. So, and we're talking about, for instance, if you drop a fork at home, it means you're expecting a visitor. If you scratch the palm of your hand, you're expecting money. Those are the things that we're talking about. So if you're on it to us, 060-904-1056, tell us what your grandmother used to tell us, all the stories about old wives' tales, and I will tell you some that I know about as well. So let's talk about tales about pregnancy. So they said that extra weight out of the front means a girl, and weight around the hips and bottom indicates a boy. So if you're big in front, it's going to be a girl, and if you're big on the sides, it's going to be a boy. That's what used to be said. So that's not true. If a woman has a short torso, there's no place for baby to grow. So the other one is, if a woman is carrying low, it's a boy. If she's carrying high, it's a girl. And also they tell you don't breastfeed a toddler during pregnancy because the new baby needs all the nourishment it can get. So these are what we're talking about. I don't know whether Dr. Jeewa knows about any housewives' tales. Doc, did your mommy tell you anything about housewives' tales? That's good to have your mother here, by the way.
I think we can ask her while she's here. But you know what I do remember, Brother Mohammed, is the time when we were young. And I think the common one was they don't play after Maghrib.
Yeah. So once you hear the Maghrib Azan, the soccer downstairs stops and you have to run home.
Yeah, that was something that they drummed in us. Then also we know of stories, don't walk under the ladder.
Oh yes, don't walk under the ladder. Yes, I remember that. And the story of when you walk in after 12, you must walk in backwards.
Walking backwards, because Shaitan is around.
So Shaitan's going to come to your house. Yeah. And if you're at night, you don't ever leave bones in the kitchen. And don't leave cutlery in the kitchen. These are what we're talking about. We're talking about old wives' tales. So if you know any of the old wives' tales, Faiz, Majida is there. We'll talk to you just now. And we'll talk to Fatima as well, inshallah. We're going to get back to all your messages, but for the next half an hour, give us a ring, chat to us, send us a message, 060-904-1056. And the other one is that an infant walker will help a baby learn to walk sooner. That's not true. Babies who spend their active hours in walkers may learn to sit, crawl, and walk later than children who have to learn these skills on their own. So if they want to get around, sitting in an infant walker with its wide tray and small leg openings blocks the visual feedback. So important to a baby learning muscle coordination. So that story about walkers don't work. Absolutely not. Let's talk about some food. Some of the one is wait an hour after eating before swimming. My mom used to tell me it all the time. That you have to, if you have just had eaten, you cannot go and swim the same time. You have to wait about an hour before swimming.
What about if the mirror breaks, 7 years bad luck?
7 years bad luck, 100%. And what about fish is brain food? Your parents told you that? You must eat lots of fish. Fish is brain food.
But that's true.
But let me tell you the story about carrots, right?
Yeah.
Okay, you're right.
But fish is brain food is correct because of omega-3.
No, fish is brain food is not correct. Okay? Is it correct or not?
Omega-3
is true. 100% right. Fish is brain true. Each fish is a good source of omega-3 fatty acids. So that's true. Let's talk about chocolate causes acne. Chocolate causes acne?
Yeah, I heard that story also. And I eat a lot of chocolates. I have no acne.
Well, you got no acne, so it's false, right? Although eating too many sugary, high-fat foods is not a good idea for anyone, studies show that no specific food has been proven to cause acne. Spicy foods cause ulcers. I heard that one before. Spicy food cause ulcers. Is that true or false, Doc?
No.
That's false. Spicy foods may aggravate ulcer symptoms in some people, but they don't bring about ulcers. Eating carrots will improve your eyesight. Asif, eating carrots will improve your eyesight. True or false?
Well, both of them got glasses, so we can put it to a
Actually,
test.
listen now, it's false.
Okay.
It's false. It's not true. Listen.
Yeah.
No, listen. This tale may have started during World War II, when British intelligence spread a rumor that their pilots had remarkable night vision because they ate lots of carrots. They didn't want the Germans to know that they were using radar. So carrots and many other vegetables high in vitamin A do help maintain healthy eyesight. But eating more than a recommended daily allowance won't improve vision. You see, guys, I'm dispelling all the myths that your grannies and grandfathers and fathers told you. Doc, go. Okay, hold on. This is a famous one. If you go outside with wet hair, you'll catch a cold, right? How many of our mothers told us that? If you go outside with wet hair, you catch a cold. True or false, guys?
That's false.
It's true or false? It's false. False. Cold weather, wet hair, and chills don't cause colds. Viruses do. People tend to catch colds more often in the winter because these viruses are spread more easily indoors, where there be more contact with dry air and people with colds. Reading in dim light would damage your eyes. True or false? Reading in dim light will damage your eyes. True? True? False. 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 Although reading in a dimly lit room won't do any harm, good lighting can help prevent eye fatigue and make reading easier. It won't damage your eyes. Okay?
What about knocking on wood? You know, knock wood.
Knocking on wood.
Yeah. You know the one they say you knock on wood every time for luck. People say I'm knocking on wood. You don't know about that one.
I've heard the one that says, what? Let's touch wood.
Same thing. Knocking on wood, touch wood.
If you say something and you don't want it to happen again, you say, let's touch wood. So I don't touch wood, I touch his brain.
That same difference. Knocking on wood and touching wood is the same difference.
No, knocking on wood and touching wood is two different things.
Okay.
Don't argue.
Right, when they touch wood,
trying to make yourself right.
When they touch wood, don't they knock on it?
No.
They don't just touch it lightly.
No.
They actually tap it.
If you said, listen to me,
okay,
I haven't had an accident, touch wood, that's touching wood.
Touching wood, yeah.
Okay, I didn't say knock wood.
Okay.
That's knocking wood. Dr. Jeewa,
maybe
too much TV is bad for your eyes.
Yeah.
Too much TV is bad for your eyes, true or false?
Well, I was under the impression that it is. And I know of, in fact, I think my kids' eyes got spoiled because of being too close to the TV.
No, okay. Too close is different, but too much TV is bad for your eyes, false.
Yeah.
Watching television won't hurt your eyes, no matter how close to the TV, no matter how close to the TV you sit. So I need to tell my sister-in-law that, because she insists that my kids must sit a certain distance away. So it's false. Although too much TV can be bad for kids, research shows that children who consistently spend more than 10 hours a week watching TV are more likely to be overweight, aggressive, and slower to learn in school. If you cross your eyes, they'll stay that way.
Yeah.
Okay, that's false, right?
How's the other one about don't open an umbrella indoors?
Oh yeah, that was a famous one. Okay, that's bad luck. True or false, Doc?
That's false. That's
okay. And thumb sucking causes buck teeth. If you're a baby and you suck your tongue, causes buck teeth.
That is true. That is true. I can vouch for it. I'm the specialist
dentist.
in that field.
True. He's right.
Yeah.
Okay.
You see, even not only buck teeth, they have an open bite.
Right. Hold on.
Yeah.
True and false. Thumb sucking often begins before birth and generally continues until age 5. If a child stops around the ages of 4 to 5, no harm will be done to the jaws and the teeth. However, parents should discourage thumb sucking after the age of 4, when the gums, jaw, and permanent teeth begin their most significant growth. Therefore, after this age, it's possible for thumb, finger, or pacifier sucking to contribute to buck teeth. You agree with me?
Yeah.
Right, you go. Let me go to some of our. We got quite a few messages. Let me see if I can reach. Yeah, I'm sure I can. All right, let's go to Majida first. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. It's not a competition, it's an auction. Fatima, and Jazakallah Fatima for telling us we're loud and clear. Let's go to. Oh, there's one. If you follow the rainbow, you'll find a pot of gold. You used to believe that, guys? Actually, I used to believe that too. And I followed the rainbow and found no pot of gold. That's true. Let's send more to us. Wonderful. Faiz is telling us. Salams, my two favorite brothers of Ansar. Yes, something to start Palestinian segment, inshallah. Salams, if you crawl under a person's legs, must go back, otherwise you'll grow short. That's true. That was told to me as well. If you can't go underneath someone's legs, you must come back out the same way, or else you'll stay short. Very good, Faiz. And what else are you telling me? Let's see. Don't take tin fish when going fishing. Don't take tin fish when you're going fishing. Hey?
Why is that?
Let's Faiz tell us. Faiz, tell us why. Don't take tin fish when you're going, and cross fingers for good results.
Crossing the fingers.
I'm writing my exams. Let me cross fingers. I mean, I haven't learnt, but I'll cross my fingers and I'll pass.
I see sometimes I see that with my patients, you know that. When they sit on the chair and before you inject them, they quickly cross their fingers.
Do they cross their fingers?
Yeah.
So
it doesn't make any difference.
It makes no difference.
Yeah.
Okay, let's go to Nasima Adam tells us, Salams, what about the one who must pull the born baby's nose, then the baby won't have a... You must pull. When a baby is born,
pull the
baby's nose,
yeah.
So it won't be flat.
Flat nose. So that means the Memons.
So all your Memonooks.
We'll talk about the same thing. They got pointed nose. So
So all your Memonooks, I know now why you got long nose.
Long pointed nose.
No, pointed nose, because we find, besides the fact you can smell the money, I know now you pull your nose. Your mothers used to pull your noses when you were small. Oh, that's fantastic, Nasima. Thank you. Let's let it roll. 060 904 1056. Let's have fun. We're at the Durban Summer Souk. There's an auction happening behind us with Siraj Basa and Tisna are going to send announcements from the front. So Doc and I thought that we'll have some fun about old wives' tales. Let's go to, with quite a few to go to. There's doctors for you. Put your tooth under your pillow. You'll find money when you wake up. Tooth fairy. Now, up to now, my grandson does that.
Yeah, all the kids.
And I think we do that just to make sure that they are prepared to take out their tooth, right?
And you know what's the weird part? That all the kids, I mean, as young as they know it's not true. They know it's not true. And they'll tell you, they'll smile, to say, yeah, okay, we know you're bluffing us, but it's fine because we're getting the money.
Yeah, they get money. Mike, while I was in Dubai, he had his front tooth was loose. So he takes it out, puts in a pack and puts under his actually pillow. While he's asleep, we come and put maybe 50 dirhams or 100 dirhams. So he gets excited and the tooth fairy has come. So he gets very happy. So the next tooth comes, ever ready to go in? I take it out. Thank you very much, Nasima Adam. That was excellent, wonderful, as well as 1453. So if you just joined us, we're talking about old wives' tales, and we got quite a few contributions from our listeners. 060 904 1056.
Can we listen to a short, not a short clip, but a clip on the same topic, or you want to go on more?
One more. Can I do one more?
Go for it.
Cracking knuckles causes arthritis. I heard that before. In fact, my mother-in-law tells me that. I must, when you crack your knuckles.
I enjoy that.
Yeah, false. However, habitual knuckle cracking tends to cause hand swelling and decrease grip strength and can result in functional bad impairment. Okay, one more, Doc, and then you can go to yours, and then we go for another sheet, right? Too much loud noise can cause hearing loss. True or false?
Well, that's been proven according to the decibels of the volume. That
true or false?
Yeah.
True. It's 100% true. Just 15 minutes of listening to loud pounding music, machinery, or other noises can cause temporary loss of hearing and tinnitus, a ringing in the ears. Loud noise causes the eardrum to vibrate excessively and can damage the tiny hairs in the cochlea, a cone-shaped tube in the inner ear that converts sound into electrical signals for the brain to process. So before we end this program, all those old wives' tales is going to come to an end because we're going to debunk them, Dr. Jeewa.
And we have quite of information to substantiate that. So let's listen to this.
Don't open that umbrella indoors. It's bad luck. And for crying out loud, watch out for the mirror. If you're not careful, you'll shatter your luck for 7 years. You know what? To be safe, may I suggest that you knock on wood? That way you won't jinx it. In a world where, at least we tell ourselves, reason and facts reign supreme, there exists a captivating realm of belief that often defies the grasp of logic, the intriguing world of superstitions. But have you ever paused to wonder whether these ancient beliefs hold a kernel of truth, even if they're veiled in metaphor and mystery? I mean, we're not that dumb, are we? Are we? Take, for instance, the pervasive yet erroneous belief that porcupines can hurl their quills at predators. Yes, this isn't quite a superstition, but it's close. Bear with me. It's a myth that gets us to act in a certain way. Now, while porcupines don't actually throw their quills, and thus this belief does not align with reality, it nevertheless urges us to maintain a safe distance from these prickly creatures, whose barbed quills can cause serious injury, infection, and even death. Put bluntly, this false belief increases our chances of surviving, and that's why evolution might favor it. Don't worry, I'm going to tie this all back into superstition, I assure you. This concept of metaphorical truth, as coined by evolutionary biologist Brett Weinstein, shines a light on how erroneous beliefs like the porcupine myth can nestle themselves into our collective psyche, serving as a protective function that resonates throughout the ages. A metaphorical truth is a belief that, while not scientifically accurate, harbors a kernel of wisdom that, when heeded, increases our chances of survival and well-being. To give another quick example, before the germ theory of disease, people subscribed to the notion of miasma, the belief that disease is spread through bad air. While this belief is not scientifically accurate, it encouraged people to avoid populated cities with foul odors, which inadvertently curbs the transmission of diseases. So, the belief, the superstition almost, was factually incorrect, and yet it feels almost inaccurate to call it false, since it nevertheless led to its implicit goal of promoting survival. Now, as far as I'm convinced, metaphorical truth is the cornerstone of many superstitious and religious beliefs, and what I want to do here is peer through its lens at our most common superstitions. Can we unearth the hidden rationale, if any, behind the fears of the number 13, or our reluctance to open an umbrella indoors? Might there be evolutionary underpinnings behind the superstitions surrounding black cats or the ritual of knocking on wood for good fortune? Well, let's find out. Walking under ladders, and its variant of walking under scaffolding. It's a practice that many follow, warning themselves and others that passing under a ladder will invite a cascade of ill fortune. There's a peculiar charm in this superstition, tethering on the edge of absurdity, yet nestled warmly in tradition. Evidently, the ladder superstition has its roots in ancient Egypt, where the triangle held sacred significance, symbolizing the trinity of gods. A ladder against a wall naturally forms a triangle, and venturing through this sacred geometry was considered disrespectful to the divine trinity, a celestial blunder of sorts. Unsurprisingly, as time flowed into medieval Europe, this superstition intertwined with Christian faith. Here, the ladder against a wall symbolized the Holy Trinity, and passing beneath it was akin to challenging divine authority. Another, more tangible reason to be wary around ladders is due to their historical association with executions. They were used in the gallows, for instance, and walking under a ladder could symbolize coming into contact with death or the afterlife. All fascinating stuff, I'm sure you'll agree. But what does the lens of metaphorical truth make of this superstition? Well, it appears to be quite simple. A ladder leaning against a wall, someone on top of it, perhaps wielding a bucket of paint or a hammer. What do you think might happen if someone decides to stroll underneath? An accident waiting to unfold, right? The risk of falling objects or the ladder itself toppling over is real and imminent. Over generations, our ancestors, driven by self-preservation instincts, would have learned to steer clear of such situations. They wouldn't have reasoned why they shouldn't go under the ladder, but rather they would have had an instinctual persuasion not to. This practical avoidance strategy, woven into the fabric of survival instinct, could have evolved into the superstition we recognize today. Dodging a potential danger zone transformed into evading a whirlwind of bad luck. Essentially, the ladder superstition might be an ancient whisper of wisdom urging caution, echoing through the ages into the aisles of modern superstitions. So, the next time you sidestep a ladder, tip your hat to the ancients for their practical wisdom, even if it's cloaked in the garb of superstition.
Okay, so that was the first one, walking under the ladder. Inshallah, we'll go on and talk on a few more as we go along, Brother Mohammed.
And if you just joined us from home, if you're 90.4 in Durban, 105.6 in Pietermaritzburg, if you're streaming on www.alansar.org.za, We apologize for the noise. We are broadcasting to you live from the Durban Summer Souk. It's the penultimate day here. There's an auction happening behind us. So if you hear numbers, that's because of the auction behind us. And now and then, the information guys sounds very, very loud. So we apologize for that. But if you just joined us, we're talking about old housewives' tales. We have a number of listeners that send up some beautiful submissions, and let's go back to them. There's quite a few. Let's go to Razia Isak, who says, Salams, brothers, here's a few. When your ears pain, then someone's speaking of you. When you bite your tongue, then someone's swearing you. If your ears pain, someone's talking to you about you. And when you bite your tongue, someone's swearing you. Let's go to Nasima Adam again.
How many times you bit your tongue?
When you have hiccups, someone's talking about you. You know what my mom used to do? They used to take cotton and they fold the cotton small and they put it on the baby's forehead, right? That's supposed to stop hiccups. So you take a white piece of cotton, you put it in your tongue, you wet it, and you put it in your forehead. And it's supposed to, old wives' tales again, prevent the child from having hiccups. Thank you, Nasima. Let's go to Mrs. Morning. Well, good morning to you, wherever you are. And Assalamu alaikum. Put your tooth under your pillow, you'll find money when you wake up. Press 1 and receive 10 Rand 8. Press 1 and you'll receive 10 Rand 8 time. That's also. So if you're listening to us, 0609041056, come, send us some of your old wives' tales that you know, or your mother told you about, or your grandfather tells you about, or something you still practice with your children, and let us hear all your old wives' tales and we'll debunk it for you.
What about the one where your palm itches?
And then you're going to receive money. Which palm, left hand or right hand?
Not necessary. Which
Any
one?
palm.
Anyone.
Oh, mine's been itching for a while. I haven't received not 1 cent yet. Maybe it's still coming, right?
Inshallah.
All right. Next one.
Okay, so
do we have a nice nasheed to keep us going while we
I'll
complete with the
just
sound?
play one more. Don't break a mirror. This is one that we spoke about earlier. And let's listen to his description.
Whispers, the breaking a mirror ushers in a 7-year-long day with misfortune. Yep, one crack in that silvery facade, and presto, you've booked an extended stay in the gloomy mansion of bad luck. To understand the origin of this superstition, we've got to rewind the clock to an era when reflections held an air of mysticism, in which mirrors reflected the soul. In ancient times, mirrors were believed to have the power to confiscate part of the user's soul, and the rationale behind this belief stemmed from the notion that, since the mirror encapsulates our physical visage, it also encapsulates semblance of our very soul. Hence, people feared that a fragmented reflection would fragment the soul and thus alter the breaker's fate. But why 7 years? Well, this blew my mind, as the ancient Romans often have. The Romans broadly believed that the soul renews itself every 7 years. Because of this, they reasoned that breaking a mirror would lead to 7 years bad luck, as it took that long for the soul to renew itself. Since then, we've learned that most cells in our body do indeed renew themselves, and it can be said, if we're feeling particularly generous, that an average of 7 years is a fair punt. Fast forwarding to medieval times, people believed that mirrors were tools of the divine, providing a reflection of one's health and future, which they kind of do, and breaking a mirror was seen as upsetting the masters above and bringing misfortune. Now, let's veer away from the mystique and tread the pragmatic path. Mirrors, especially in days of old, had a lofty price tag, with their breakage spelling a serious financial setback. Depending on the time, material used, and artisan commissioned, mirrors had a value of roughly a high-end mobile phone today. So one's bad luck might well be as simple as owning the person who owned the now shattered mirror a hefty chunk of coins. Furthermore, the splintered shards posed an imminent threat, carrying the possibility of infection and disease. Our ancestors, not ones to embrace injury or financial loss, would have wisely treated mirrors with delicate care, and this superstition reinforces this. Now, add a dash of human inclination for detecting patterns, and a narrative begins to take form. Avoid breaking mirrors, avoid misfortune. This straightforward avoidance behavior may have gradually snowballed over the centuries into the formidable superstition that now graces us. But what of the association with good health and fortune? Well, I think that this one is pretty simple. When we're aware of what we look like, we tend to take better care of ourselves and in turn reduce our rate of infections and diseases. In this sense, mirrors really do improve our health and along with it, our fortune. So, when we peel back the layers of time and superstition, what emerges is a narrative as pragmatic as it is poetic. The mirror, a silent source of our reflections, also mirrors a story of human caution, transformed into a mystical belief. The next time you handle a mirror, then, remember it's not merely glass and silver, but a relic of ancient wisdom wrapped in a cloak of caution, sprinkled handsomely with celestial drama.
Welcome back. We've got quite a few messages. You just joined us. We're talking about old wives' tales, and we'd love you to send us some of those that you may have experienced in your family or your extended family. 060-904-1056. 060-904-1056. Let me read some of the ones that we have, and we've got some more here that's been sent to us. Nasima tells us the palm itching is true. The palm itching is true. Every time my right hand's itch, I receive money, even if it's just like 10 rand. So believe in that one. Oh, wow. My palms has been itching for a while, Nasima. I haven't received the 10 rand as well, but I'll start believing it in now.
But MV, my palm itches a lot, but my palm don't itch at all.
But you still get a lot of money.
But I still money comes to me.
Good.
No, I don't have a lot of money, but it comes.
You fortunate. Mine hasn't itched now. So I will believe Nasima when she tells me if your right hand itch, you would receive money. Let's go to Aisha. Salam's good show as always, brothers. When your eyes beats, you're going to hear bad news. When your shoes is upside down, it's bad luck. You know, she's talking about when your shoes is upside down. Up till now, and I'm 62 years of age, I would never leave a shoe turned upside down. I always turn it upright. That's how effective old wives' tales are. And I'm sure it means nothing.
Because you condition in that way.
Yeah, it's turned upside down. So my mother has always taught me, and I'm sure there's lots of listeners that will tell you, if a shoe is upside down, you turn it, even if you're walking past, you turn it on the right side.
So what happens if it's upside down?
You turn it around. It's bad luck.
Yeah, but what does it do?
It's bad luck.
Bad
you get
luck.
bad luck come to your home.
My shoes is all different directions. I have no problem.
No,
Yeah.
Najma tells me if it's upside down, she turns it right side.
No. I turn it the right side and she turns it upside down.
060-904-1056. We want to talk to you about old wives' tales. We've said quite a few. We spoke about the walking under the ladder. We spoke about how if you break a mother, it's 7 years of bad luck. We spoke about how babies, you put the ring, and I think if it goes in a certain direction, you can tell it whether it's a boy or a girl. We spoke about hiccups. If you put a cotton wool on your forehead, you'll get rid of hiccups.
Walking under the ladder.
Yeah, we spoke about walking on the ladder. We're talking about if your hair is wet and you go outside, you catch a cold. We've debunked that.
And if you're bald?
If you're bald, you'll get
Then
a
you're
cold
unlucky.
anyway. It goes straight to your head. You'll just get sick.
No, then you're unlucky if you're bald.
Okay, 1453. One uncle should say his hand's itching to hit somebody.
That's also true, eh? Sometimes.
When your hands itch someone, you want to hit somebody? Yeah, let's see what else that we have to debunk about old wives' tales. I think we spoke about most of them. I know the Maghreb one is very strong. I mean, when I was young, as soon as the Azan came, dude, we had to go home, stop the playing. Even if the game is not finished, you just have to go home. That's what we have to do. Dr. Jeewa?
Yeah, so just to touch on, I think we spoke earlier on about touching wood or touch wood. So let's listen to the explanation on.
Is that the explanation about touch wood?
Yes, knocking on wood, a ritual that a great many partake in, uttering a hopeful announcement to prevent jinxes. No one wants bad luck, do they? It's a quaint yet comforting gesture, like whispering a small prayer to the universe to keep the ill tides at bay. It turns out that this superstition is extremely old. When ancient pagans roamed the verdant lands, they revered trees as the homes of spirits and divine entities. The act of knocking on wood was akin to seeking an audience with these mystical spirits, either to garner their blessings or to shoo away mischievous mystical other entities. As time trotted on, this leafy lore nestled itself within various cultures. In medieval Europe, for instance, the devout would knock on wooden crucifixes for protection and favor, a gesture of faith intertwining with ancient pagan customs. Another, though less common belief, is that knocking knocking on wood is a humble acknowledgement that one's good fortune could change. In this sense, it's more of an expression of gratitude. Putting on our goggles of metaphorical truth, it's easy to see why knocking on wood is a superstition. To name just a few benefits, the act of knocking on wood could serve as a tactile way to assess the quality and condition of the wood, which reflects the broader environment's health and stability. Soft and rotting wood indicates unfavorable conditions and the presence of pests and diseases. In historical settings where resources are crucial and environmental awareness is a matter of survival, being able to quickly assess the quality of wood, even subconsciously, would be a very significant thing. Another benefit of knocking on wood is that we can assess its density, integrity, and stability for various uses like construction, carving, or fuel. Over time, this simple action could have become a routine gesture among people involved in woodwork or related trades. In this sense, knocking on wood is educational. The practice fosters a direct sensory engagement with the environment that permits our survival, which enhances our understanding and appreciation of natural resources. To be clear, the superstitious wouldn't have, and still don't, recognize that they're assessing their environment. Instead, they register this information subconsciously, which goes to explain why their rationale is saturated with spiritual and mystical propositions. Remember, evolution doesn't need them to understand why they're doing this, it just needs them to do it. And as for knocking on wood to thank the universe, this too has a huge evolutionary advantage. It's an act of humility, which effectively warns against arrogance and overconfidence, which can both very easily lead to an early expiration date. Given all this, the next time you knock on wood, know that you're not just partaking in a quaint ritual, but echoing a melody of human resilience and hope that has resonated throughout the ages.
Welcome back, and you're listening to Nightline. As you mentioned, we're talking about Old Wives' Tale. We just basically touched on the one about touching wood, Brother Mohammed.
Yeah, so we debunked the walking under the ladder. We debunked the mirror if you crack for 7 years. And now we talk about touch wood. You know, if you say something and you don't want it to be changed or you don't want it to happen to you, say then, let's touch wood. We spoke about some of the pregnancy ones. I'm sure, I don't know whether people still believe in extra weight out front means a girl, and weight around the hips and bottom indicates a boy. So if you see a girl that is very big in front when she's pregnant, it means it's a girl. But if she's weighty around the hips and she's got big buttocks, then it's a boy. Okay, that's false, right? If a woman has a short torso, there's no place for the baby to grow but out. A long torso may mean roomier accommodations for a baby, making it less likely for a woman's belly to bulge outward. And a wide belly may just mean that the baby is sideways. In this day and age, with such technology, you can find out your baby's gender so easy. So they also say, if a woman's carrying low, it's a boy. If she's carrying high, it's a girl. Now, what's high and what's low? Low? High means up, right? And low means actually lower down. That's also not true. If a woman's carrying high, this may be her first pregnancy, or body is in good shape. Stomach muscles have a tendency to become more elastic with each pregnancy. So a belly that's seen more than one pregnancy may hang a little low. Have you heard about them putting a coin when the baby is born in the navel?
Yeah, in the navel.
And that's true.
What is it for?
It stops the navel from growing out. So you have a nice, neat navel inside as the baby grows.
But which coin? 5 cents, 10 cents,
well,
50
the
cents?
coin that can fit in yours. I'm not too sure what size coin is that, Dr. Jeewa. Dr. Jeewa, don't come get technical with me now. And what about an infant walker? Okay, I spoke to you about this, but let me tell you something else which I didn't know. Wearing shoes will help a baby learn to walk sooner. True or false?
No, that's false.
Wearing shoes will help a baby learn to walk sooner.
And when we were young, we didn't have shoes.
Bare feet. We walked
barefoot, we're barefoot. Everything we did was barefoot, yeah.
And the other barefoot story is that if you always run around barefoot, you are going to get big feet.
That I possibly agree, because I do have big feet.
Okay, so let's talk about wearing shoes will help a baby learn to walk soon. That's false. Just the opposite is true in this case. Keeping a baby barefoot can help strengthen his or her foot muscles and help the child to learn to walk earlier. A toddler who is walking, though, needs comfortable shoes that fit well. They shouldn't be rigid. Shoes should conform to the shape of a child's feet and provide a little extra room for growth. Now, I've learned today that an infant walker is actually dangerous. More important, baby walkers are dangerous. Nearly 14,000 injuries are treated in emergency rooms every year as a result of walkers. And 34 children have died since 1973 because of baby walkers. Stairway falls in walkers can be especially severe. In a policy statement, the American Academy of Pediatrics recommended a ban on the manufacture and sale of mobile infant walkers in the United States. Would you remember if you used a baby walker?
I think that was pretty common in those days. In order for a baby to learn how to walk and balance themselves, a walker was something that was assistant. And a child, that time when you were young, Brother Mohammed, you remember when you were a baby and you had put in a baby walker, you used to practically try to run.
Yeah.
And it was like riding a vehicle or something.
Yeah, but we may not have been aware of the dangers of baby walks, especially down the stairs. Now, Nasima Adams seems to have a lot. I'm sure she comes from an extended family that used to have lots and lots of housewives' tales. She says, don't clip your fingernails in the evening. I heard that too.
What about biting your nails?
Don't clip your fingernails in the evening. You're not supposed to be biting nails at all.
Yeah, that was something that up till now I find it difficult to do, is clipping my fingernails in the night.
I don't know why, but maybe she can tell us why, or maybe her mom told her why. Aisha also tells us, also Maghrib time must come inside because Shaitan is around. Baby napkins must be out of the line before Maghrib time because birds fly over them and cause the baby to cry whole night. Yeah, I'm learning so much on this program.
Don't stand under a tree after Maghrib.
Don't stand in a tree after Maghrib. Don't go out with your hair open after Maghrib.
Yes.
Where did these old wives' tales come from? Is this from our grandmothers, or is it a cultural thing? Because I see you got a clip on Islam versus culture, right?
Yes.
But is it cultural, Asif?
100%.
Yeah, it's cultural, right? Because I know, and not only my mom, because we lived in Lawn Street. Not only my mom, everyone's mom in that building. When that Maghrib Azan went, we had to all come inside.
It was standard.
Okay,
and
whether your game is finished
cold
or not, and if you don't not cold, you'll actually catch a hiding.
You catch a hiding, yeah.
Right? Asif, I don't know what's it like to catch a hiding. Only you and I know.
Yeah.
Asif, did you ever catch a hiding in your life, Asif? Did your mom hit you, Zach? Oh
well done. That's why they're such good grounded individuals, eh? That's why they're such good grounded individuals.
Your parents used to mur you?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, he's done nothing wrong. You've grown up to a perfect gentleman. You as well, Asif. Listen to me. I also got a lot of hiding in my life, dude. What's wrong? Look at the gentleman that turned out to be.
Wow, with the stomach.
Eh?
Now, what do you say? What old wives' tale is it when a person has a big stomach like you?
I don't have a big stomach. You're saying wrong with your eyes. You must be eating carrots.
Okay. Take a turn around and let them see you on Facebook Live. They'll be able to see you.
They can see me on Facebook Live all the time. Right, Faiz. I love you, Faiz. Let's see what you got to say to us, Faiz. Faiz says, my granny instilled not clipping nails at night. And up to now, and he sounds like he's a gentleman of age, he still does not do it. Okay, also tell us about the things that you've learned through old wives' tales that you still don't do right up to now, which means over the years, you carried it out through your family, your children, your grandchildren, and you made sure it's not done. I still practice the Maghrib story. That I must tell you, to be honest.
Yeah, I still find it difficult to cut my nails at night.
That's very good. Well, Faiz thinks about the same thing. He says it's bad luck. So my granny still not to, so it's bad luck. So we cannot cut nails at night. We must be in at a Maghrib time. Nasima tells us, the thing is question these myths because I also believe it's cultural. It's cultural. If you listen to us and stay tuned, you're going to listen to Islam versus cultural, which we're going to play to you in about another 5 or 10 minutes. If you just joined us, you are listening to Brother Muhammad Variawa and Dr. Jeewa. We've got 2 expert technicians with us, Asif and Zach, and our technician at the Durban studio transferring the message is Spoon Keys, which we haven't spoken to for a long time. We're talking about old wives' tales. So even if you're outside and you know some of the old wives' tales, 060-904-1056, come into the studio and tell us some of the old wives' tales that you know. Let's break it up with a beautiful nasheed.
وأجمل منك لم تر قط عيني وأطيب منك لم تلد النساء وأجمل منك لم تر قط عيني أطيب منك لم تلد النساء. يا رب العالمين وبحق المسلمين حمدين وشاكرين، الله الله الله، وبيد رسول الله اسقني شربة نجاح، الله الله الله. صلى الله على طه خير الخلق وأحلاها، صلى الله على طه خير الخلق وأحلاها. لعلي أراه أفوز رضاه وقلبي معاه حبيب الله. اللهم صل وسلم وبارك عليه صلاة تدوم وتصل إليه. اللهم صل وسلم وبارك عليه صلاة تدوم وتصل إليه. حبيب الله في أسمى المعاني، الله الله، ونور الله في أجلى بيانه، الله الله. صلاة الله قدسي سناها على المختار سيدنا محمد. مشتاق يا نبينا وبرسل لك سلام، مبعوث على المدينة بدموع من غير كلام. مشتاق يا نبينا وبرسل لك سلام، مبعوث على المدينة بدموع من غير كلام. إني أحب محمدا والله خير شاهدا، يا ربي صل على المدى أبدا عليه مجددا. حبيبي محمد يا أجمل هدية، انت الغالي علي يا جد الحسنين. اللهم صل على محمد يا ربي صل عليه وسلم. اللهم صل على محمد يا ربي صل عليه وسلم. يا ربي صل عليه وسلم.
Welcome back. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. The approximate time now is 1 minute past the hour of 10. If you just joined us, we're talking about all wives' tales, and Jazakallah khair for all the wonderful messages and all the all wives' tales. All the old wives' tales. And if you're listening to us and you know something about old wives' tales and you're listening to us here at the Durban Summer Souk, you're more than welcome to visit us in the studio and tell us some of the old wives' tales that you have as well. You know what my mom always told us? Why do you cut your hair when you're a baby? Because they say your hair grows thicker, right? But that's not true. I mean, look at my head. My mom shaved my head when I was small.
And all
it didn't grow
disappeared.
thicker, it just got completely shaven off.
But up till now, people still believe that is true. You know that. I mean, a couple of days ago, I actually had a guy. You know, when I explained to me, you shaved your head suddenly. He says, "Yeah, I'm shaving so I can get a better growth."
Okay,
That's
just
the
plucking,
response.
shaving has no impact on the thickness of your hair. The Mayo Clinic assures us because shaving cuts the hair off at a blunt angle, it can feel thicker and look more noticeable as it grows back. So do you think if I use a razor over my head, will I get more hair, guys? Come, give it to me now.
Beyond the point.
Huh?
Beyond that stage.
I'm past the stage. Okay, all right. Now, I've never heard this, that cats sucks baby's breath. Have you heard that before? Cats suck baby's breath. Relax, feline fans. Your cat will not suck your baby's breath from their body. According to an investigation by Life Science, this idea may come from a 3 100-year-old case in which a child was supposedly strangled to death by a cat. Today, we know the baby more likely passed from sudden infant death syndrome, while you should always know that that's not possible. Plucking grey hairs will make 2 more grow.
Is that a lie?
What about the one about black cats?
Oh yeah, if a black cat crosses you,
crosses in front of you. It's considered to be bad luck.
each hair follicle now, if you got gray hair, and if you pluck 1, 2 more will grow. It's not true. Each hair follicle may contain 1 hair, so plucking them will not cause more to grow, explains UAMS Health Shashkank Karate MD. If you just can't stand the sight of gray hairs, trim them close to the scalp instead of plucking. Does what's the thing you do? You put on waxing.
Waxing, yeah.
Does waxing prevent the hair from
Supposed to be slowing the growth of his hair.
I don't know about that. These are all old wives' tales. Okay.
While you get into the message, I just want to make a shout out. I'm very honored and privileged to have Nishal with me in the studio. Alhamdulillah. I'm trying to get him to speak. Know Nishal for umpteen years. Not once did I have an opportunity.
You know,
while
for
we were
umpteen years.
Umpteen years,
okay.
yeah. But
Yeah,
it's
no,
shy
it's
to
good
come
to
on
have
in.
him here.
He only
speak.
like to be on the radio when it's light. In the morning.
In the early morning.
At night, now he keeps quiet. He goes undercover.
The breakfast rush.
Yeah.
The breakfast rush expert. He doesn't want to rush at night. He most probably get lost. All right, so we spoke to you about old wives' tales. We're gonna have one on Nasheed, unless you know any of the old wives' tales that your mom used to tell you. Nishal, your mom used to tell you a lot, right? Can you pass it quietly to Muhammad Ayaz, since you don't want to come on to speak onto our program? Well, days is coming. Tell us some of the old wives' tales that you know. I'm sure there's quite a few. Let Mr. Nishal come on.
Alhamdulillah.
How you guys doing?
Very well. How are you doing?
Not going to complain.
It's an honor and a privilege. In fact, that's why now it makes sense that today was almost 40 degrees.
Absolutely.
Because it
Nishal
knows
is
that
in the studio.
Nishal is in the house.
Oh, man. No, I just finished up on the stage on the outside and I decided to come.
By the way, how was your show?
Good. Lovely. It was lovely. Wonderful. I did enjoy it. So they used to say that you mustn't clip your fingernails
At night. 100%.
right?
Okay.
And I could never understand why. Because I can still, I've got the clipper, I've got the nail, I can see what I'm doing, the lights is on. But apparently back in the day, when people went shopping, you bought in bulk rice. And it was open, whatever the case is. And if you clip your nail and it flies into the rice packet. And
So that's why you cannot tip your nails at night.
yeah, it had nothing to do with anything else. Yeah. So a small house. That's why we're standing close to the rice. But there's tons of them.
Yeah, no, we had quite a few. But tell us some of the ones you know, because you come from a different
No,
background.
but
So
what's terrible is what you just mentioned, because I said this to my son literally two days ago. Don't pull gray hair because you split the follicle and 2 come out.
oh, you see, you believe.
I said that.
Well, I just debunked it for you now, right?
Thank you.
So now, and also, I debunked the fact that if you cut your hair very often, it'll grow thicker. It's not true.
Yeah, I'm learning that the hard way.
Okay, but actually, Nishal, you should be worrying about the front, dude.
This is what I'm saying. I'm learning this the very hard way. But anyway, it's been interesting where I'm reading up because you guys brought it up. Spicy foods cause ulcers.
Yes, that was also said. Spicy foods cause
Yeah.
ulcers. Do you believe that?
No, because doctors thought that eating lots of spicy food caused stomach ulcers, but there's no evidence to support it. So you can go now, and right here at the Durban Summer Souk, go to town on your spicy food like Doc Jeewa is doing on his chicken wings.
But you had something that was absolutely spice-opactic.
Beautiful.
You told us it'll clean your. That's a Chef Joy, right?
From Chef Joey, it was absolutely amazing. Those chicken wings, and I had the super hot on this hot day.
And
You're already sweating. You're already sweating. It's so hot, and then you have this. It heats you up from the inside.
I was there. Okay, Doc and I was there last night, right?
Yeah.
I will not try spicy food. I can't handle it. So I had the PJ Chang's one.
Yeah.
PF Chang's ones. Excellent. Was very good, right?
That's exactly what I had now when we started the program.
And
That's
I had
why-
from that watermelon guy, the crushed watermelon was excellent.
mango.
that.
Oh, excellent. Go try it, but You like the lemon one? Yeah, it was excellent. What about going out in a cold with wet hair will give you a cold?
No, but isn't that true?
That's not true.
No?
No, that's not true.
So
We
you're making your
just debunked
scalp
that.
cold?
We just debunked
Yeah?
that early on. Yeah, it's not true. Which one? Yeah. Actually, my dad, I got this habit of doing this, right? I shake my legs. My dad used to hit it. Because what you doing? You give me the shaitan, right?
The teachers used to tell that at school. Yeah?
Yeah, well, let me find the ones that was debunked, inshallah, on Old Wives' Tales, and I'll tell you some of the ones that we spoke about, and I'll tell you why it's been debunked.
Please move your vehicle or your vehicle will be towed.
Okay, did you hear the one about you have to wait an hour after eating before swimming?
I still do that. I still do.
What happens to you, Zach?
Zach says he gets cramps.
You get cramps.
Stomach
Why
cramps.
you don't? Why? They told you. Who told you? Your mother.
No, the reason why he doesn't swim after eating is because he might sink or drown. So he has to make sure
Okay,
the
that's
food
false,
digests.
guys. There's no such thing as that. According to the American Red Cross, it's usually not necessary for you or your child to wait an hour before going into the water. However, it's recommended that you wait until digestion has begun, especially if you had a big fatty meal and you plan to swim strenuously. The Red Cross also advises us against chewing gum or eating while in the water, both of which could cause you to choke. Now, I don't understand this one. Coffee stunts your growth.
Coffee.
No, never heard of that.
Coffee.
Yeah, coffee stunts your growth.
It's true.
It's true?
No, it's true. I'm sitting here as proof.
You're right. You're right, because I don't drink coffee, so I'm tall.
That's why you told us.
And you're short because you drink coffee.
Well, I don't consider myself short, but I'm not as tall as you are.
That's false, Nishal.
Yeah. But I'm here to say it's true.
Coffee won't affect growth, but too much caffeine doesn't belong in a child's diet. Excess caffeine can prevent the absorption of calcium and other nutrients. So you can go ahead with your coffee. Chocolate causes acne? You believe that?
Nah.
Right. That's not true, 100%. Spicy foods cause ulcers?
We debunked that already.
Debunk that. Eating carrots will improve your eyesight?
But remember, if you have ulcers, then spicy food can aggravate ulcers.
Yeah, it can aggravate you also. That's true. All right, let's see what's happening here. My granny said something here. Faiz, bad luck. Faiz, bad luck. All right, Nasima, the question is about myths. And if your right hand itches, you get money.
What
That's
was
true.
it?
I heard that.
Yeah. What did you say, brother? A moment.
I said that if your right hand itches, you're gonna get money.
Yes. And if your left hand itches,
Then you're gonna
Then,
lose
then
money.
you're gonna get a
right
clap.
leg,
Then
Your
you
right
get a
leg
clap.
itches, you're gonna
Then you get
fall
a
down.
kick. Then you'll get a kick.
If your left leg itches, you're gonna win. Right? You know what they said about chicken pox, which is true. When you have chicken pox, you mustn't peel it.
Yeah.
Because it leaves a
Scabs.
Yeah.
leaves a mark for you throughout your entire life.
I got them right there.
Have you got some?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Go for it. Go
So what about walnuts removing scratches from furniture?
I've never heard that.
You've never
Maybe
heard
you
that
can tell
one?
us. No.
So light scratches on like wood floors and furniture, sliding, removable with a walnut. Simply just take the walnut and rub it over. This one's actually true.
That's true.
Yeah, it fills in the gap.
So if you take walnuts, and what must I do with it?
Rub it over the scratch on furniture
And it takes it
and a
away.
wooden floor. Like it'll take the scratch away.
Wow.
It'll fill in the gap.
That is amazing. I didn't know that. That's a lesson. Now, you remember when you were, okay, you won't remember when you were a baby, but I'm sure your parents would, that they used to put a coin in your navel, Nishal?
My
Why?
navel's not that big.
No, but do you know that? Or they tie
Yeah, yeah,
they put a
I've
coin
heard
and
that.
they'll tie it
And they
around
would
your
tie,
navel.
yeah.
Why?
I have no idea. Was it copper?
So
Something
it
to do with
doesn't
copper?
come out. Have you seen some kids where the hernia is out?
It pops out, yeah.
Right, it pops out. But if your mom looked after you, it would be nice, clean, and neat in your stomach. Oh my God! Look at us so eating that burger. What is that burger nice?
So Doc's got what looks like a naan with burger filling.
Okay, we'll
And he's-
debunk that, and I'll tell you why. Okay, even I've got to tell my sister-in-law that. She used to tell me, she's a optometrist. You know what
Yeah.
she should tell me? You mustn't sit too near the TV. I just read that's not true. It's not true. It doesn't spoil your eyesight. That's not right. It doesn't spoil your eyesight at all, actually. Let me find out where I saw that or where I read it about TVs. Infant walkers are not good at all. Fish is brain food. That's true, actually. You must eat lots of fish. It's good.
It is brain food.
Yeah. Too much
Just like,
TV. Too much TV is bad for your eyes. Tell us. You read it for us. Tell us what it is.
I don't know if it's so old, guys, but feeding a cold and starving a fever. Nisha, any thoughts?
Feeding
They
eggs?
say feed a cold, starve a fever, right? So if you've got a cold,
Yeah.
eat more. And if you've got a fever, go for anorexia to vibe.
That's not true. I don't believe that.
I don't have an appetite when I've got a cold.
So it's outdated medical advice, and it comes from the idea that eating can raise your body temperature, something that would be more beneficial in fighting off an infection. However, that has since been debunked also.
I'd challenge anybody who's got a stuffy nose to go to the kitchen, grab a green chili, and take a bite. Anybody.
I had
you
a
have-
stuffy
yeah.
nose, right?
You got 5 stuffy noses.
I have a stuffy nose right now.
Right, so we get you a green chili,
And I
we'll
had it
check
for
it out.
2 weeks. Now, what I'm thinking I must do, I'm going to Chef Joy and try that spicy wings.
Chef Joey,
Chef Joy.
we can make a plan with that one. But honestly, I think that one there, because it makes your sinuses start working, so your nose starts leaking.
No, 100% right.
Yeah.
I would actually agree with you. Let's go and see what other people are saying to us or not. Fatima says, well done, Fatima. Cover mirrors when it's lighting. That's true. You know, we all switch off the TV. We cover the mirrors when it's lightning. Is that true?
I don't
Because of the
cover
reflection.
the mirror, but we do switch off because of a power surge and electrical surge.
So we turn off all the electrical stuff, right?
Yeah,
Don't touch silver taps when lightning will strike you. True?
that's all we've got.
Don't touch
Because of
silver
the-
taps.
Because
when
it's
the
a
lightning will
conductor.
strike you.
That's purely because it's conductive electricity.
So I don't think that my sister here goes anywhere near taps when it's lightning outside.
Okay.
Hello, Siraj Basa. You finished making noise, right? Did you make money? I'm happy for you. All right, guys, let's do this. When the dog bites you, you must hit the spot with a 2 cent.
Where are you going to find a 2-cent coin these days? Firstly.
When a dog bites you, you must hit the spot with a 2 cent coin.
I've never heard that in my life.
When preparing mushrooms, put some silver in the pot. If it goes black, it's poisonous. But that's true.
If the
But in
mushroom
this day and
goes
age, who
black,
has silver lying around? It's so random.
That's true.
Or a 2-cent coin for that matter.
wait, hang on. Now. Is it the mushroom that's going black or the coin?
No, the mushrooms go black. It's
Yeah.
poisonous.
Oh, okay.
Okay, but now I think we've come to a stage where we can differentiate between poisonous mushrooms and normal mushrooms.
I give them mother-in-law to taste every time.
But when you fry
I
mushrooms, they
want
all
some
go
of
kind
these.
of black.
I'd like some of these old tunnies listen to us to come tell us all the old wives. tale.
Hey, Amina, you don't remember my mother told me.
Exactly, all the old wives. tale. Aisha Jamal. Aisha Jamal, where are you? Assalamu alaikum, my Nightline team. Brother Mohammed Varayab and Dr. Jeewa. Inshallah, we'll be back on track from next Saturday with Helping Hands Buzz. 2 appeals for this week. The sister who has cancer, okay, I'll talk about that just a little bit later on. Aisha Jamal, I'll read it for you a little bit later on. All right, we've come into the 10:17. I think we're going to go on to the Palestine segment now, in which we're going to spend time on the Palestinian issue. Oh, Dr. Jeewa's got, have you just finally, you roped Nishal to take the mic from you so you can go have a burger. Seriously now? No, you need to go wash your hands, dude. Come on, we'll wait for you.
Yeah, I
You know, Father
took
Bathroom.
a chance because I'll be very honest with you. I was so busy at work today.
Yeah.
I haven't eaten the whole day.
Okay, but you
And
had
I-
wings
and
earlier
I
on.
knew that coming to the Souk, I'll be exposed to variety. And
And so
believe
you had
me,
variety.
it's mouth-watering. That's why I moved away. Because
So
of
what you
actually
had most?
eating
Tell me what you had most.
what I had.
Yeah.
Well, we spoke a lot about Chef Joey, and I made sure. But I was enjoying a lovely burger, a very unusual burger.
Nishal wants to tell you something.
Now I want to ask a question.
Go for it.
Doc said he was busy at work, right?
Yeah.
So, Doc, when you're cleaning people's teeth, for me, for me, as a patient, right? I get in there, I want the mouthwash first. Yeah, it's just me being respectful to the doctor, right? My question is, do you clean multiple at a time, or is it one at a time, 32 times you clean the teeth?
That's the sound you shall. You got it right.
When you describe the way you describe, 99% of the time, the patients tell me, you know what, this is the first time I felt absolutely no pain, no sensitivity.
No pain.
Yeah. Now the
Because he
idea.
didn't do any work, right? He was
Couple
obviously
times.
nothing. Yeah.
Couple times when the guys come for a cleaning, so I asked them a question. But don't you clean your teeth at home?
Good question.
Huh? But you see, the reason being,
No, but you can't take away the plaque.
not the plaque. The plaque you can take away.
Then what can't you take
The
away?
calculus.
The calculus. Okay.
So plaque turns into
So
calculus.
we have to come to you to take away the calculus.
to remove the calculus. Yeah.
Okay.
So dentists are basically micro panel beaters.
They're micro panel.
Micro, because they're using
With very fine. hand
micro
machinery.
angle grinder.
No, I always tell my patients that we are a combination of every different trade and profession. We involve in engineering, medicine, art, technology, architecture,
Plastic surgery.
plastic surgery, every
100%.
profession, carpentry, plumbing, electrical, you get electric shocks. So every single profession in one trade, alhamdulillah.
But he's good, Nishal.
I've
He
heard
kept me on the chair for 3.5 hours. So he's good.
In my 30 years of practice,
Yeah.
the longest I ever kept a patient
Was me.
was 4.5 hours.
Me.
And it was him.
You guys thought you were doing a show at
Four
the
and
time?
a half hours. Yeah, we thought we were
Do you know-
nightline.
Doing a show at the time.
Do you know how many injections I had? I must tell you something.
6.
He's a master with injections. You
Yeah.
don't feel it. 6.
Wow.
6, really.
No, because 6 is the most they're allowed to give you.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, but you know the reason why it took so long?
Mm.
Because I had to do major reconstruction. Otherwise, he'd be walking like a Kryptonian.
And I wasn't prepared to walk out
Absolutely, the
without
front
Hang
four
on, you were
teeth missing.
toothless.
chance.
Yeah,
You were
the front four
toothless.
teeth. Yeah,
Yeah. I'll be
Yeah,
too
the front,
toothless.
yeah.
In the front, he was toothless. Okay.
Without the tooth fairy to help me.
Thank you, gentlemen, for
Thank
having
you,
me on the
Nishal.
show this
Wonderful
evening.
to have you here.
Not a problem.
So
I just want to
yeah.
play another one, Brother Mohammed, before you end.
Okay, let me just
It's
do one
called-
more before
Okay,
I
go
end.
for
I'll
it.
just do me one more. My mother told me that when all your porridge, no, my mother told me what all your porridge, you'll be very strong. Oh, eat all your porridge. Okay, let me redo this. My mother told me that you eat all your porridge and you'll be very strong. I'm 44 and I'm still 55 kilograms.
Okay, this one focuses on don't open the umbrella indoors. That's the thing.
Yeah, that's a very interesting. I want to hear that
Dare
as
to
well.
open this canopy indoors, and bad luck will extend with it. The belief goes that opening an umbrella indoors is an invitation to misfortune. But where does this superstition come from? To figure this out, we need to rewind to a time when umbrellas were not merely the folding canopies we know today, but grand and ornate emblems of power and protection. In ancient Egypt, the use of the umbrella was typically reserved for royalty or deities, signifying high status and divine favor. The shadow that the umbrella cast was seen as a sacred space, a protective canopy, resembling the vault of the heavens, which shielded from the scorching heat. Opening one indoors, where one is already sheltered, was seen as symbolic mockery or ignorance of the protective forces, which effectively invited bad luck as a form of cosmic retribution. This association with the gods was common. Just as many Egyptian gods are depicted with an umbrella, the same is true of many Hindu gods. In Buddhism, the umbrella is seen as one of the 8 auspicious symbols representing protection and sanctuary, and in China and East Asia, the umbrella is a symbol of rank and a protective emblem. Fast forward to the Victorian era in Europe, the association with divine protection had dampened. We can blame the rain for this one. But by the 18th century, the umbrella had again become a symbol of status, becoming an accessory for the upper classes. Their new design, with their stiff, spindly frames and sharp, threatening tips, posed a real danger when opened indoors, and so while the divine deterrent was gone, a practical deterrent remained. But let's pivot from the mystical to the pragmatic, shall we? Consider the practicality of opening a large object in a cramped space. An umbrella indoors could knock over valuable items, perhaps even a mirror, leading to a heated exchange, or perhaps it could knock over a candle, leading to an exceptionally heated exchange. The superstition, then, can be seen as a gentle reminder to respect one's surroundings and to wield our tools with care. There's also a metaphorical layer here, of course, where opening an umbrella indoors is a symbol of misplaced defense, a sort of shield up at the wrong time, creating an unnecessary barrier that may cause isolation. This superstition, like many others, is a narrative born of practical caution transformed into a belief. It's an echo of the human desire for order and aversion to the disruption of domestic tranquility. So, the next time you start to open an umbrella indoors and pause, consider it a nod to the wisdom of the safeguarding of sanctuary of hearth and home. It's a little lesson in etiquette, a historical hint to be mindful of our environment, and a story that's unfurled across centuries, much like the umbrella itself.
For FM Stereo 105.6. Just coming to the end of our segment, as we've spoken about Old Wives' Tale. But I think early on, Brother Mohammed alluded to, whether these old wife tales are cultural or not. So I think this was a wonderful nasiha that was given by a sheikh, a very learned sheikh who does a lot of research. Let me just see if I can quickly find that. Yes, there we go.
And so in a nutshell, I want to look at some of these problems. Some of the challenges we are facing is our respect and our spread of pure Islamic knowledge. It is crucial for us now, all Muslims, to go back to authentic sources. That when we are making our judgments, when we are dealing Islamically, we should try the best that we can to be using the Quran, the Sunnah, the sayings of the scholars as a basis of how we are functioning, to give us the consciousness to make the decisions in the things that we are doing. There's a problem that I call Islam versus culture. That sometimes the culture of the people, whether it be outside of America or American culture, clashes with Islam. And many of us learned Islam from our parents. And so we say, well, that's what they do in our country. We pray like this, or we don't marry those people over there because we live in the mountain, they live down by the river. We don't marry those people. You can't marry them. You know, a sister came to me and she said, I am from what is called the Ashraf, the Sharif people. They're the noble people, descendants of the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him. And as all Muslims, we say, Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ala ali Muhammad. We send peace and blessings to Muhammad and his family. That is the duty of a Muslim to do every time you pray. But there's a concept going around amongst us that divides us into groups or castes. The sister asked me in all sincerity that I am a girl who is supposed to be Sharif, and is it permissible for a Sharif girl to marry a common Muslim? That's what she asked me. So I said, wait a minute. Are we Hindus or Muslims? The Hindus have the Brahmins, upper caste. They have other different castes, Shudra, untouchable people. So is this a caste or is this Islam? So what is stopping you when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells us, Inna akramakum indallahi atqakum, that the most beloved to Allah is the one that got the taqwa, not the blood in your veins. Because if Hashimi blood was enough, then Abu Lahab, in your Quran, Tabbat yada abi lahabin wa tab, the father of the flames was Hashimi, with the best of the bloods, and he's burning in hellfire. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala put his punishment in the Quran, and his blood couldn't help him. And so we have to come off this understanding, these things that divide us, one group and another group. And in each country, you can go country to country. And in America, you might not know this, some of the brothers and sisters, we got our own problem too. We got our problem, a southern brother or a northern city boy, country boy. We were overseas fighting with each other because these brothers are the city slickers. And other brothers from the south, man, y'all are too slow. You don't think right. The Southern brothers, we're stable, firm. You people are too flighty, man. You're just out in space. And so the clash came. We got our own problems here that we got to drop amongst ourselves. Culture. Recently, a family came to me. This is a reality situation. They came and they said that we're going to get married. We wanted to marry our daughter. And this man, he came and he wanted to marry our daughter, and he went to a magician. You start talking about magic around Muslims and everybody's eyes get big. Talk about jinni going inside and we got to take it out. Okay, so he went to the magician and the magician said, okay, I'll get you married. And this is a true story. The names are being protected. Like to protect the innocent, as they used to say, the names will not be said. They went to the magician and he cut out the heart of a goat. And he wrapped it up with the girl's clothing and her scarf, and he buried it in a Christian graveyard. A'udhu billah. A'udhu billah. I don't know where his mind was at. Buried this stuff in the graveyard, did all kinds of things, and the foolish Muslims, they believed in this stuff. They believed in it. And then when he came, the family said, Brother Abdullah, we couldn't do anything. He came in with the magician, and then he said, I want to marry your daughter, and what do you say? And they said our eyes were glued. All we could say is, yes, we do. Yes, take our daughter. The Muslim brother opens a restaurant, and in January his business goes down, and he comes and he said, Brother Abdullah, they put the jinni, they went to the magician, and he made a spell, and he sent it across the ocean, and they're on my restaurant. Take them off, brother. So I went in the middle of the restaurant. I said, there's a jinni in this place. Come and get me right now. And the brother ran. Nothing came. I said, brother, it's January, man.
Well, you're listening to Nightline, and that was just in jest where he said that there's a jinn in a restaurant, and as he says, come for me, the jinn, and basically the brother ran away. That was said in jest. But, another very interesting question came in also, Brother Mohammed. Parents believe in superstitions. If we do what they tell us, to avoid conflict, is that hypocrisy? That's interesting. Family members are telling you about these so-called old wives' tale, and not to basically, upset them, we tend to just try and say to accept it. And this is a lovely question that's been answered by a sheikh. Let's listen to this very quickly.
العالمين. Alhamdulillah. So Sheikh, if our parents believe in any type of superstitions and they ask us not to do it, for example, they tell us don't wash your clothes on this and these days because this and this will happen. We know for certain this is nonsense what they say, but if we decide not to do it in front of them, just not to make them angry, but we would normally do this without their presence. Is this problematic, and is this maybe some kind of hypocrisy?
Okay, first of all, to believe in superstitions defies your belief in Islam, because our Islam is based on the 6 pillars of Iman, to believe in Allah Azza wa Jal, the Day of Judgment, the angels, the prophets, the scriptures, and in the predestiny, whether good or bad. When you believe in superstitions, you believe in something other than that. And it's something that did not or was not revealed in the Quran or in the Sunnah. Therefore, it's baseless. So it defies your belief in Islam. Nevertheless, some parents are old, are ignorant. They don't have the proper knowledge. And for you to avoid any conflict, you've tried so many times to convince them, but they still believe that you should not walk underneath a ladder. For example, this, for you to avoid it, just to please them and to avoid any conflict, or though you have done your due diligence, you've advised them before, you have tried your level best to give them da'wah, but they're defiant. So to avoid this, not out of any belief in such superstitious things. Rather, it's just to avoid conflict. There's nothing wrong in that, inshallah, because it all depends on your belief. No one says, no, you have to walk underneath the ladder. And whatever happens, happens. Nobody says, wash your clothes on that particular hour of the day or on that particular day of the week, just to prove they're wrong. Nobody says this, and Allah knows best.
Brother Mohammed?
Well, he debunked the one about the under the ladder, but I've got a few more before we move on to our next segment. I want to read a readout that I've got from Aisha Jamal for her program that she does on the nighttime program as well. What about chilies on meat? If you're taking food from a function at night, also flick a lighter or strike a match before entering the house. That is, you're after 12 p.m. So guys, if you go to a function and you're carrying meat, you must either flick a match or strike a lighter before you enter your house. Now, don't forget that, especially when you're taking stuff away from a wedding, when in fact you're not supposed to do that, but if you're doing it. We have a readout to do for Aisha Jamal, who is unable to be on our program tonight. Let me just read the readout that you gave us. Assalamu alaikum, my team on Nightline, both Brother Mohammed Variawa and Dr. Jeewa. Inshallah, we'll be back on track from next Saturday with Helping Hands Buzz. We have 2 appeals for this week. The sister who has cancer is still in need of bandages, so we need bandages. A dialysis patient needs some essentials in groceries, if you can assist. There's an elderly sister in Chatsworth who needs water and lights to be paid. She's wheelchair bound. We have a few appeals for stationery coming up next week. Just have to do some investigation first. But please, if you can buy extra stationery like pencils, glow pens, please do. And at least when we need it, you can drop it off when we make a request. For any of the appeals, please contact Aisha Jamal on 084-304-1683. 084-304-1683. So we're still looking for the sister who has cancer, is still in need of bandages. A dialysis patient needs some essentials, that's groceries, if you can assist. And there's an elderly sister in Chatsworth who needs water and lights to be paid. She's wheelchair bound. And of course, next week, inshallah, Sister Aisha Jamal will talk about stationery. So if you're buying stationery because your kids are going back to school, and if you can buy extra, please do so. Please, if you can buy extra stationery like pencils, glow pens, please do. And at least when we need it, you can drop it off when we request.
What about school clothes?
I'm sure they'll be needing school clothes as well, because they're all going back to school right now. Aisha Jamal will be back with us.
Also, what's a good
Saturday.
habit to follow is that, we buy clothes for our kids.
Yes.
And obviously they get wasted or they lie in a cupboard. So that'll be nice to...
Or they grow small. They grow bigger,
yeah.
And the clothes don't fit anymore.
Yeah. So they grow bigger and the
Because
clothes...
stationery is very expensive.
So they
School
grow bigger
uniforms,
and the clothes get smaller.
smaller.
Oh, okay. So the
School
clothes shrink.
uniforms is very, very expensive. I feel sorry for parents that needs to go, especially going to private schools. It's very expensive. Very, very expensive.
Just in conclusion about the so-called the old wives' tale, remember superstition in Islam is generally discouraged and regarded as contrary to the principles of Tawheed, because belief in superstition, such as attributing events or outcomes to things without evidence or Islamic beliefs, can lead to shirk or distract from trust in Allah's will and decree. There are some key points regarding superstition in Islam. One is reliance on Allah, tawakkul. Islam teaches complete reliance on Allah and submission to His divine will. Belief in superstition undermines this reliance and can lead to irrational fears or actions. The Quran states, "Say nothing will happen to us except what Allah has decreed for us."
True.
He is our protector, and Allah let the believers put their trust. The second one is rejection of omens. The Prophet ﷺ specifically condemned belief in bad omens, considering it as a form of superstition. He said in the Hadith, there is no adwa, contagion without Allah's will, no tiara, belief in bad omens, no hama, superstition about owls, and no safar, superstition about the month of Safar. Third one, prohibited practices. Practices such as fortune telling, astrology, wearing amulets for protection without Quranic basis, or believing in the power of objects, charms, or rituals to influence fate and consider it haram. The Prophet ﷺ said, whoever goes to a fortune teller and believes in what he says has disbelieved in what is revealed to Prophet Muhammad ﷺ. Fourth point, avoidance of innovations that we know is bid'ah. Superstition practice often stem from cultural traditions that conflict with Islamic teachings, and these are considered bid'ah and are discouraged or outright forbidden. The fifth one is faith in qadar, divine decree. Belief in qadar or predestination is one of the 6 pillars of Islam. This entails accepting that all events, good or bad, occur by Allah's will and wisdom. So let's look at some examples here. And these are interesting, Brother Muhammad. We didn't discuss these ones. Examples of superstition that are condemned in Islam. Believing that certain numbers, example 13.
Yes, certain numbers are bad luck.
Are unlucky. Associating specific animals, like we spoke about black cats or owls, with bad luck. And these are superstitions that are condemned in Islam. Relying on horoscopes or zodiac signs to predict future events. Thinking objects like a lucky charm can bring success or ward off evil. So remember, encouragement of knowledge and rational thinking. Now we know that Islam encourages seeking knowledge and understanding over blind adherence to baseless belief. It advises Muslims to base their actions on evidence, the Quran, and authentic teaching of the Prophet ﷺ. So by avoiding superstition, Muslims strengthen their relationship with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, increases their reliance on Him, and maintains purity in faith. Let's listen to a nice nasheed.
Palestine streets, they bid like farewell, cause they were deceived. The whole world is watching whilst they all disappear. They face injustice, but God is near.
فلسطين يا فلسطين بلاد العز والكرم. فلسطين يا فلسطين جروحك بكى الحجر. صرخات طفل بريء يسمعها رب البشر. من صواريخ السماء تنزل مثل المطر.
يا فلسطين امحي دموعي نصر قريب. يا فلسطين شهداء الأقصى في الجنة أحياء. القدس ستبقى لفلسطين. Oh, can't you hear us? Our souls cry freedom. Why do we need a reason to live in peace? Why do they shoot us? Are we not human? Turn the land into dust. Oh, can't you see?
فلسطين يا فلسطين ستعودي أرض السلام. فلسطين يا فلسطين سيزول عنك الظلام. صرخات طفل بريء يسمعها رب البشر. من صواريخ السماء تنزل مثل المطر.
يا فلسطين امحي دموعي نصر قريب. يا فلسطين شهداء الأقصى في الجنة أحياء. القدس ستبقى لفلسطين. Destroy our homes and they take our children away. Only God knows the pain that we feel. Behind the bombs and the tanks and the sound of the planes, therein lies a Palestine that is free. waiting for guaranteed freedom. You can take our homes, but we will remain strong. Cause Allah's on our side, and He's where we belong. Palestine, Palestine, wipe those tears from those saddened eyes. Palestine, Palestine, Jannah waits for your innocent life. Palestine, Palestine, we'll be free. Palestine, oh, we feel it. We all feel your pain, your pain. Palestine, Palestine, we'll be free. Palestine, oh, believe in the one who protects your faith. You can do no harm, even with your bombs. You have the big tanks, but we have Allah. You are the top.
Brother Mohammed, you live?
Welcome back. It is now 10:44. It's nearly quarter to 11 here from the Durban Summer Souk. We been broadcasting since 9 o'clock. We started the program with the Old Wives' Tales, and we had wonderful contributions from all our listeners on a Saturday night. We're now going to move to a very painful part of this conversation. And nothing has changed and nothing has stopped. I'd like to know what you, as a South African, whether it's praying at home, whether it's sending du'as, whether you helping the Palestinian movements, whether you supporting protests, whether you take part in marches, whatever you're doing, I'd like you to message us and please tell us on 060-904-1056, because I think we are now becoming at a hopeless land. I'm not saying we're losing hope. Please understand what I'm saying. I think we've become a hopeless bunch because we are so, there's nothing we can do. But I've read, and I want to read to you a beautiful article that I thought. It's called From Holy Kaaba to Gaza. The rotten spectacle of 1.8 billion Muslims watching Gaza's systematic extermination reveals the absolute death of Islamic conscientiousness and the terminal rot in the Muslim soul. While Philistine flesh burns and children's bodies are pulled from rubble like broken dolls, the so-called Muslim Ummah wallows in its pathetic incapacity, masking its moral cowardice with worthless prayers and hashtags. This isn't just a failure, it's the ultimate nail in the coffin of Muslim identity, exposing the fraudulent nature of every single Muslim who dares to utter the Shahada while Gaza drowns in blood. The bitter truth screams from every bombed mosque and every massacred family. Muslims have become nothing but hollow shells, spiritually dead creatures who wear their religion like a comfortable costume while their brothers and sisters are genocided in real time. This isn't mere shame. It's an irredeemable damnation that exposes the complete ethical collapse of a people who claim to follow a religion of justice and courage. The petrifying corpse of Muslim identity will forever stink of this betrayal, haunting every daily prayer, every Ramadan, every Hajj with the screams of Gaza's children that Muslims chose to ignore. How dare these 1.8 billion cowards call themselves Muslims while they watch, tweet, and inverted commas pray as their own people are systematically exterminated. The genocide in Gaza isn't just recording Palestinian deaths, it's documenting the spiritual death of the entire so-called Muslim Ummah, a pathetic mass of humanity that has become nothing but passive observers of their own moral extinction. This terminal shame will forever poison every aspect of Muslim existence, a perpetual testament to the moment when the followers of the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ became complicit in the very oppression they were commanded to stand against. Future generations won't just inherit this shame, they'll carry it as proof that their ancestors were nothing but hypocrites who reduced their faith to empty rituals while their brothers and sisters were slaughtered like animals. The moral catastrophe stands as the culmination of decades of Muslim decline. From the Sykes-Picot betrayal to the shameful normalization deals with oppressors. The Muslim world, once claiming to be a beacon of justice and dignity, has devolved into a collection of puppet states and compromised regimes. Their leaders trading the blood of the Palestinians for temporary political gain and economic convenience. The transformation of Islam's holiest cities, Mecca and Medina, into grotesque monuments of capitalism, where luxury hotels tower over the Kaaba and shopping malls overshadow the Prophet's mosque, symbolizes the spiritual decay. While Muslims prostrate in the shadow of five-star hotels and perform tawaf beneath luxury clock towers, their Palestinian brothers and sisters are being systematically exterminated. Every Muslim child born henceforth will inherit not just the shame of Gaza, but the cumulative weight of a civilization that chose submission to oppressors over submission to Allah. Yes, this is hard hitting. Material comfort over moral courage, and diplomatic niceties over divine commands. The very concept of Islamic solidarity has become a cruel joke, a meaningless slogan mouthed by leaders who rush to condemn cartoons but remain incapable as Gazan children are bombed in their sleep. This isn't just the death of a Palestinian children, it's the death of everything Islam was meant to represent: justice, courage, solidarity, and standing firm against oppression. The Muslim world's response to Gaza will be studied for generations as a moment when the so-called Ummah finally admitted that its fate was nothing more than an empty cultural identity. Its principles nothing more than a theoretical abstractions, and its claimed brotherhood nothing more than a convenient fiction. The blood of the Gaza's children doesn't just stain Israeli bombs. It stains every Muslim's prayer mat, every pilgrim's ihram, and every pretense of Islamic values in our morally bankrupt age. You know, we cannot deny anything that has been said. We've failed the Palestinians, each and every one of us that belongs to this ummah. We failed to act, we failed to overthrow, we failed to protest vociferously in order to help the Gazans. And I've always told you this, Dr. Jeewa, we gonna have to answer on the day of Qiyamah to Almighty Allah, for we have done nothing. We're a Muslim ummah in decay.
You know what's also said in the last week, babies, children are basically dying because they're frozen. And there's so much of aid available for them, but the Israelis refuse to allow it to come through. I mean, you know, it's sad. And you know, the world is quiet.
The whole world is quiet.
And exactly what they wanted to do, they wanted to basically raise Gaza to the ground. And you can see 80% of that has happened. And they're going to make sure that the whole of Gaza is going to be raised to the grounds. And that's what's taking place. Let's play this clip you sent me.
Yeah, let's play that clip first. And then we play the clip by Candace Owen.
And little Muhammad falls on his knees with his hands raised to the sky and says, "Oh Allah, my mama and Baba, there are many Muhammads in Palestine. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bring peace, ease, harmony, success and victory to our Palestinian brothers and sisters. Ameen." May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bring peace to everybody who is suffering any hardship. Ameen. And may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bring peace, success, and victory to all the brothers and sisters who are suffering around the world. Syria, Afghanistan, Kashmir, Iraq, anywhere in the world. Ameen. The oppressors will never win. They can plan all they want, but Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the greatest of all planners. Victory will come from Almighty Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Inshallah.
That I very much hope people will start to use. And this is the concept of the international division of humanity. You know, for hundreds of years, in a period of, in a sort of context of colonialism, there was an understanding that some humans are better than other humans. You know, let's say Europeans or people who are considered to be white are superior to everybody else. Humanity was divided. And the people who were not considered to be white could be just killed. You know, the first aerial bombardment takes place against Libya in 1911. The Italians just carpet bomb the Libyans and then bragged about it, saying that our aerial bombardment is a good education for the tribes, the Arab tribes in Libya. They learn to behave themselves. 1924, the British bombed the Kurds in northern Iraq. Again, Arthur Bomber Harris writes a report saying, you know, these Kurdish tribesmen, they will learn to fear us. They're a lower form of humanity. When I watched the bombing by the Israelis of the Palestinians, it was very clear that there was an international division of humanity operating. You know, one Israeli child, seemingly, according to some calculation in Washington, D.C., or in Tel Aviv, one Israeli child is worth 10,000 Palestinian children. If one Israeli child is hurt, you are allowed to kill 10,000 Palestinians. That's the attitude of the international division of humanity. And the way the soldiers were displaying children's clothes, breaking toys, and the cruelty, you know, that cruelty, you can't even say it's excessive. Because if an international division of humanity is operating, it's normal to treat the children of the savage with absolute contempt. And that's exactly how the Israeli soldiers were behaving. They treated Palestinians as savages. And this itself has to be considered not just a war crime, but this is beyond that. I mean, it's somehow even the term genocide seems too little. This is something beyond that. This is a crime against civilization.
You know, what he says is so true, Brother Mohammed, because if you tend to look at...
blonde hair and blue eyes will supersede everybody. And that's the division in humanity. One Israeli child is worth 10,000 Palestinian children. That's exactly how they treat the Palestinians. But I'm telling you something, myself, you, Zach, Asif, everyone walking in this Durban summer souk, whether you're Muslim or non-Muslim, we'll have to answer to the plight of the genocide, ethnic cleansing of the Palestinians. And that's my fear. You know, I was ready to die. I've changed my mind right now because I have got no answers when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is going to ask me, what have you done when your brothers and sisters in Palestine was being ethnically cleansed, bombed, maimed, massacred, and made into orphans? I have no answers, and I'm not ready.
You know,
I need to repent.
You know, if you take it one step further, as the guy mentioned about the color of the skin, and we need to realize, let's change the scenario. If this happened to a country that was predominantly fair-skinned.
Yeah, let's talk about Ukraine, right? They were quick to label Putin and charge him for genocide. Why? Blonde hair and blue eyes. But let me tell you, the next clip that we're going to play is by my favorite podcast artist. Her name is Candace Owen, and she appeared on the Piers Morgan show. Listen to what she says, okay? And let me tell you exactly what she says. She says that October 7th was deliberately orchestrated by Benjamin Netanyahu. He knew it was happening. The Egyptians warned him long before it has happened. And she's been to Israel, and Piers Morgan has been to Israel. And in Israel, for every 10 meters, you'll find 10 soldiers standing at every corner in Israel, because that's how they keep the Israelis safe and occupied. How did that occupation, that so-called terrorist activity of Hamas, go on for 2 hours without anybody knowing? How did helicopters from the belonging to the Islamic army shot down their own people? And he changed the scripts. He altered, he edited everything that went on to broadcast live to give the impression that it was a Hamas's done. He planned it. The carpeting, the genocide, and the ethnic cleansing of Palestinians was a planned thing. Listen to it.
You know, every child in Israel, when they reach a certain age, I think 16, they are conscripted into the army. Every single, male and female, not only male and female, they are conscripted into the army.
You telling me that the entire world, ICC, ICJ, countries calling it genocide.
Now there's something taking place at the National Security Council.
National Security Council, General Assembly, all the world powers in the world can do nothing. There's not even a ceasefire. Look at what's Palestinians now is in winter. Bitterly cold. Okay? The north of Gaza is tense, rain. Kids are dying from cold, and there's nothing we can do. We are shameless.
They're freezing.
We are shameless. We are gutless. We are spineless, and we absolutely hopeless Muslims ummah of this world. Because we're going to be massacred.
Death toll of under 50,000. There's no comparison in the amount of dead people compared to the Holocaust. So do you understand why?
But it is a Holocaust, what's happening.
Well, is it though?
Yes.
So,
The burning
I think
bodies,
language is really important.
I think language is really important as well. And that's
people
why
say Holocaust, genocide,
I
and
think
so on.
what's happening is a Holocaust. The burning bodies of the children that I'm seeing every day, and we spoke about this a little bit on my show, but I have recognized that the ability to see this stuff every day has transformed my opinion. Maybe the numbers wouldn't have gotten so high if people had spoken up when it was happening at the very beginning during World War II. And so I want to use my platform to say that I believe that they are intentionally executing a Holocaust. I think Bibi Netanyahu, there's tons of evidence, and obviously the Western media is not reporting on this, but the corruption trials that are going on with Bibi Netanyahu pertaining to October 7th and him editing the transcripts and the prior knowledge that he knew is now becoming extremely pertinent. It is a question as to whether or not he allowed the attacks to take place, essentially to then be able to go in and to commit this Holocaust against the Palestinians. Now, based on everything that I've looked into and stuff that I had not seen before, because the Western media doesn't cover it, Bibi Netanyahu caught off camera speaking about how he had no intention of following the Abraham Accords and how he was going to get around it. He has, I believe, genocidal ambitions, and that's enough. We don't need to dispute, go backward or forward. Do I think Bibi Netanyahu has genocidal ambitions against the Palestinians? The answer is yes.
Do you think he's a war criminal?
Yes. I believe he's a war criminal. And I think that the issue is how much power he has, particularly in America. And I want to make sure that I'm just crossing or I guess, making that clear to people across the pond. You know, in America, we have lobbying. You guys don't have lobbying here. And so this is why it might seem...
We do, but not to the same degree.
Yes, like AIPAC spent $100 million in our elections. And what that means is that they're able to write fellowships, they're able to pay journalists, they're able to pay people to attack and take down people who speak against their initiatives. And they are, AIPAC, I would say, is very much pro-Likud party, pro-Bibi Netanyahu. And this is why you have seen people like me being attacked the way that they have been attacked for what I believe is just a human stance on what's happening to the Palestinians. I don't care if you had flipped it, if it had not been Israelis, if it had been, you know, if it had been Christians doing this to Muslims, I would say the exact same thing based on the images that I've seen. But there is a ton of evidence that Bibi Netanyahu allowed October 7th to take place, including the things that we found out, because I now read Haaretz Daily to
You don't actually think he knew it was going to happen?
Well, let's just talk about the facts. We don't have to speculate on that. What we do know is that they did intercept the hostage plan before it took place, right? highlight the 250 hostages that came out in Haaretz media. We also know that Egypt gave them prior warning that the attacks were going to take place. Egypt said that they were being ignored. That was a fact. I've been to Israel. Have you been to Israel? We know it's the size of New Jersey. We know that it takes 15 minutes to get from one end to the other. And we know that every 5 feet, there's a person in your face holding a gun. That attack went on for 2 hours without interruption. I find that hard to believe. And this gets to the, I guess you could say, the nucleus of the corruption trial against him, when now he's even arguing with the IDF minister who he fired, Yoav Gallant, am I saying his last name correctly? Where they're saying that some funny stuff happened on October 7th, and they are explicitly accusing him of feeding lies to the Western media. This is crucial. And this could be the undoing of everything. If we find out that he had prior knowledge, and we do know for a fact that he said that he intentionally wanted to take over Palestinian territory, you should find that clip and play it on the show, because it's very significant when he asked the reporter to turn off the camera, and then he starts speaking about his plans for the Palestinians. This was years ago. I think Bibi Netanyahu is a monster, and I think the people that are still standing by him and supporting him, I wouldn't want to have that on my conscience.
You're still talking about, at the moment, a death toll of under 50,000. There's no comparison in the amount of dead people compared to the Holocaust. So do you understand why?
But it is a Holocaust, what's happening.
Well, is it though?
Yes.
Welcome back. I hope you paid attention to that. It was very important. That's Candace Owen. She runs her own podcast studio, and she was on the Piers Morgan show, and where she found as evidence to believe that Netanyahu was aware of this attack. And Israel is the size of New Jersey. So from one end of Israel to the other, it will take you about 15 to 20 minutes. And in every 5 meters, you'll find soldiers standing with guns. So it's beyond our imagination how the attack lasted for 2 hours before anybody has acted. That's number one. Number two, there is investigations going on to believe that Netanyahu has deliberately did this. He fed false information to the Western media, and the false information has created all the mayhem that we are in right now. So investigations are going on right now, and at the moment in Israel, he's still being tried for corruption. But as Muslims throughout the world, I want to read you a message that was sent to me from one of our, and I asked them whether they mind if I label them tonight only as Christian, and I need to read it to you. Dear brothers and sisters in Christ, I write to you today with a heavy heart as I contemplate the ongoing violence and bloodshed in Palestine. As people of faith, we are called to love our neighbors as ourselves and to seek peace and justice for all God's children, regardless of their race, religion, or nationality. I urge you to join me in standing with our Muslim brothers and sisters in Palestine who are facing unimaginable hardship and suffering. We cannot remain silent in the face of such violence and oppression. Instead, we must raise our voices in protest and demand an end to the bloodshed and injustice. As Christians, we believe in the power of prayer, and I encourage you to pray for the people of Palestine that they may know peace and security. But we must also take action, using our voices and our resources to support organizations that are working to promote peace and justice in the region. Let us remember that we are all children of God, created in His image and likeness. We may have different beliefs and traditions, but we are united in our humanity and in our desire for a better world. Let us stand together as one and work towards a future where all people can live in peace, dignity, and freedom. With love and solidarity, I plead with each and everyone, let's stand together. That's a Christian brother or sister. I'm not too sure what nationality, but that's a brother or sister. Send us something like that. So we need to go to Sister Zinat. Let me just read what you just sent me. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Alhamdulillah. Please ask your technician to play Umar Isa's dua. We've done that. We've got that ready for you. We've got the children is, what's that thing called? Children of Palestine.
Children of Gaza.
Children of Gaza, which we'll play for you just now, sister. Allah Ta'ala making dua, Allah Ta'ala grant the people of Palestine relief from all their hardships. Ameen Ya Rabb al-Alameen. Salams and duas from Sister Zinat. Otherwise, please play One Big Family. I think it's by Mahir Hussain. You, my brother, you, my sister. We'll play both for you, inshallah. The time now is 7 minutes past the hour of 11. Dr. Jeewa?
Just want to give the listeners a feel of what's really taking place in Gaza at the present moment, so this to get an idea, so that we don't live in blindness completely. Let's listen to that.
After a night of death and destruction, what's supposed to be a safe zone for displaced Palestinians is a war zone. Tents offer no protection against Israeli airstrikes.
We were sleeping, and around 1 a.m. the missiles hit the area. Dead and wounded people were all over the place. Bodies were cut into pieces. It was like the Judgment Day. The displaced people were sleeping in their tents.
In the pitch black, phones are the only source of light for rescue workers. The drone of ambulances, a constant flow bringing the injured to hospital. 3 Palestinian children arrived on the back of tuk-tuk, but for them, it was too late. Daylight at Al-Mawasi reveals a small crater where one strike landed. A blood-soaked mattress is a reminder of its impact.
This is not fair. What's the fault of our children to suffer like that? We didn't do anything wrong. They told us to come to Al-Mawasi and described it as a safe area. The reality is that there is no safe area in Gaza.
With nowhere else to go, Palestinians can only wonder whether Israeli forces will ever stop targeting them. Tariq Abazoum, Al Jazeera, Dar al-Balah, Palestine.
Conditions not even fit for animals are quickly killing the young in Gaza. Sick children with no means to heal, babies are freezing to death. The ruin caused by Israeli soldiers is forcing parents into a living nightmare.
We all sleep in this room. It's the humidity from the floor. It always makes the tent so cold.
Sajida's daughter Yara is withering away before her eyes.
She cannot be exposed to cold weather or smoke, otherwise she must be put on oxygen. There's no medications for her here. Needless to say, we cannot feed her or keep her warm. There's not even a chance of recovery. She's deteriorating with every passing minute.
The UN warns deaths from disease could surpass the number of casualties in direct air strikes, proof that Israeli bombs continue to kill long after they have exploded. Nearly 70% of all structures in Gaza are damaged. When all safety has been lost, even the most benign events turn deadly. At least 7 people froze to death in the past week. The displaced people in Deir al-Balah are forced to battle winter rains unprotected. Their belongings now drenched, when even one layer could mean the difference between life and hypothermia.
Winter cold exacerbated our struggles, added to malnutrition. Children's immunity was gravely impacted, and now infection is rife, especially pneumonia. Most civilians are living in tents or under tarpaulin. Many children, mostly newborn babies, have died recently because of cold weather.
To destroy is easier than to build, especially without tools. The UN says it could take 350 years to rebuild the strip, and could have proven impossible under Israel's blockade of goods and equipment. For now, Palestinians' buckets, shovels, and even bare hands will have to do. For Gaza children, the winter has brought more than just the cold. It has brought illness and suffering. Not because it's an unusually cold winter, but because of the lack of a proper shelter, medical supplies, and aid. Parents are desperate, and doctors here are pleading for urgent aid. Hani Mahmoud, Al Jazeera from Al-Aqsa Hospital in Deir al-Balah City, Palestine.
Sorry, our technician seems to be fell off to sleep somewhere along the line. So currently what you're hearing is happening as we speak. Tens of thousands of Palestinians displaced by Israelis. Relentless bombardments are now being flooded out of the tents after days of heavy rain. And families are finding it even more difficult to keep their children warm.
Now, do you remember...
Dear Excellencies...
Do you remember that the BBC has been accused of being very biased and pro-Israel, and never reported on the actual happenings in Palestine and the bombings of the Palestinians by the Israelis. Now, it was found out that Rafi Berg, who's the head of BBC's Middle East desk, is a Mossad and CIA collaborator. And this has been revealed to us by Mint Press. In his book, Red Sea Spies, was written in his own words in collaboration with Mossad commander Danny Limor. Berg's office features framed photos of himself meeting Mossad and Israeli government officials, as well as a signed letter of thanks from Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu himself. Berg is in charge of overseeing BBC content about Israel and Palestine, and according to a new investigation from Dropsite News, is the subject of widespread complaints from more than a dozen BBC staffers who allege he systematically alters coverage to ensure it is as favorable as possible towards Israel. So he's finally been exposed, and the blatant conflict of interest is explored in a new investigation by Alan R. McLeod, which can be read at mintpressnews.com. So if you want to read more about this gentleman who is in charge of the Middle East for BBC, you can read the full investigation. It's exclusively mintpressnews.com. MINTPRESS, mintpressnews.com. Dr. Jeewa.
Okay, so let's take a quick short break and listen to Children of Gaza by Umar Isa.
That's for Sister Zina, it's for you.
Innocent cries, innocent lives. Where do they go? Where do they hide? They wanna play, they wanna stay. No more goodbyes, too young to die. They just want hope that they can grow, achieve all their goals. We have a dream and we believe one day they'll be free. Children of Gaza, the moonlight is with you, the world is with you too, we'll never leave you. Children of Gaza, a love will come true, this promise is for you, with patience you'll get through. From the evil to the hate, to the lies they create, Palestine will be free, Palestine will be free. From the evil to the hate, to the lies they create, Palestine will be free, Palestine will be free. In the skies, where no planes fly, they'll play day and night, no eyes will cry. They just want hope that they can grow, achieve all their goals. We have a dream, and we believe one day they'll be free. Children of Gaza, the moonlight is with you, the world is with you too, we'll never leave you. Children of Gaza, a love will come true, its promise is for you, with patience you'll get through. From the evil to the hate, to the lies they create, Palestine will be free, Palestine will be free. From the evil to the hate, to the lies they create, Palestine will be free, Palestine will be free.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. My brothers and sisters, it's your brother Umar Isa.
That was Umar Isa, Children of Gaza.
Okay, we've got some messages that I want to go through with regards to Palestine. I'm going to play the one from my brother Faiz from Marisburg. Asif, can I do it now? Yeah, let's play that. There we go. Okay, something's happening. I can't hear it.
I'm sure you guys know.
Okay, let's get back to it, and I'll do it again. We'll try again.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Yeah, put it louder.
To brothers of Ansar and all the listeners. You know, I'm sure you guys know about this, right? There are a lot of Zionists that are monitoring this program. And okay, I'm going to give you an example with myself. I got a lot of messages and death threats because people in my community know that I am pro-Palestine and okay, they can call me anti-Semitic. Yes, I am anti-Semitic, considering what these people are doing. To hell with them and their Semitism. So if the Zionist pigs that are listening right now, I put it in my statement as well. I'm not afraid of y'all, and I can take 3 of y'all at any time that y'all want. I'm not a young person, I'm an old person, and I'm very experienced, but I can handle myself, and I'm well prepared and well armed for any Zionist pig that thinks that he can do what he can do in Palestine, in South Africa. So here we go. Netanyahu, whether he planned this whole attack or not, it will make no difference whatsoever. Right, his arrest warrant is gone through the ICC, and I sent you guys some news from CNN, which is controlled by the Zionists, that America is going to supply Israel with $8 billion worth of weapons. What are those weapons for? To carry on with whatever it is that's going on. So nothing's going to happen to Netanyahu. It's all in Allah's hands now. Well, we know he's got a cancer problem and his wife's got a coronavirus problem. Let's hope they suffer and die. As for me, I'm prepared for all these Zionist things. If they can only come and give me a chance, I will defend myself worse than what they are doing. Alhamdulillah, Allahu Akbar. Faiz Idris, to all your Zionist pigs,
No.
come, I'm waiting.
Just due respect to you, Fayez, we do appreciate your message and we understand your frustration.
Yeah, but he's emotionally charged.
Yeah, but I mean,
we can understand where he's coming
I don't think we need to encourage hate speech. We do understand the frustration, but we also have to understand our words and how we use our words. It's sorry, Faiz, not to burst your bubble, but we do understand your concerns.
Sister Zina, Jazakallah khairun, Allah Ta'ala reward you all. Inshallah, Palestine will be free, inshallah. Let's see what Hussein's got to say. Salams, Doc. The truth is that all the shaheeds of Gaza will fill Jannah up, and we in the dunya will only have place in Jannah, Jahannam left for us, because we did nothing for the people of Gaza. As Amalana said, we did nothing. Absolutely correct, Brother Hussein, and I stand by it. That includes me, myself. We've done nothing. You should have the podcast of my introduction and play it every day at home, so you'll be reminded about what our responsibilities is towards the Palestinians. Because right now, we're contributing absolutely nothing. I must admit, there's certain countries in the world that are still having huge amounts of protest. We're talking about 500,000 to 1 million people. I think Turkey had one also recently. And it's not a Muslim issue. It's a humanitarian issue. And there's people and Muslims and non-Muslims and Christians and people of other faiths that are standing up vociferously against the Palestinians. The shame that we face as Muslims is that these are our brothers and sisters. We have countries that are so wealthy that they don't know what to do with their money. But as I speak to you today, they're still being annihilated.
To give you an example, Dubai had claimed and proudly announced that they had the biggest firework display in the world on New Year's Eve.
But there's quite a few countries that spent millions on fireworks on New Year's Eve.
No, we understand that. But in an Islamic country where Palestinians are getting killed, massacred, and then you want to have this big fanfare. I mean, come on. I think just for the benefit of listeners, for people that might be feeling hopeless, at least the least we can do for every salah, let's make earnest dua to Allah to help the Palestinians. At least that's the minimum we can do. In fact,
But the minimum is not good enough. I think
No,
we
I
come
know,
to a
but
stage where
just-
there has to be some civil action
power of dua
in
is
the
very,
world.
very powerful. The power
And
of
no
dua.
one's doubting. You obviously never listen to my introduction. We're not doubting the power of dua. It's absolutely
I'm saying
powerful.
the minimum a person can do.
But the minimum is not helping right now. We need to make dua.
Better
We
than
need
doing
to
nothing.
pray. We need to take action. That's what you need to do. You need to take action.
I got another clip. It's about 8 minutes long, but it's a very interesting clip. It's called "The Mahdi Will Come After This War." Interesting. So, we can identify and see that signs of Qiyamah are dawning upon us. So, let's quickly listen to this.
Sahih in the Tarikh of Ibn Asakir, which is oft quoted many times. It is authentic hadith where Abdullah ibn Hawala said, we were with the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam and we complained to him how poor we were and that we didn't even have clothes to wear. We're complaining to him. So the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, rejoice, don't worry about that. For I am not worried that you will live in poverty. La wallah, I'm not worried that you're going to live in poverty. Wallahi, this ummah will be in continual good until Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala opens up the lands of the Faris, the Persians, and the lands of the Romans, that's the Byzantine Empire, and the lands of Himyar, that is Yemen. So in Mecca, the Prophet ﷺ predicted, don't worry, we will conquer the Persian Empire, and that happened. And we will conquer the Byzantine Empire, and that happened. Jazakallah khair. And we will conquer Yemen, and all of that happened. Then the Prophet ﷺ said, you will become 3 armies. So he said, you will become. This is the ummah. This is the civil war we talked about between the Muslims. You will become 3 armies. Jund bil Sham, wa Jund bil Iraq, wa Jund bil Yemen. An army will be in Sham, an army will be in Iraq, and an army will be in Yemen. And wealth will be so much that a man will be given 100 dinars. Now 100 dinars, maybe if I were to say in our times, like $5,000. It's a large amount, but not an obscenely large amount. 5,000 is no joke. 100 dinars is a good amount of money, right? A person will be given 100 dinars and think, this is nothing. This is not a good amount. In other words, wealth will be so much that a good amount of wealth would be considered utterly trivial. Ibn Hawala said, Ya Rasulullah, when that happens, which of these 3 armies should I be with? Which of these 3 armies should I be with? The Prophet ﷺ said, I tell you to be in the army of Ash-Sham, of Syria, because it is the chosen of Allah's people, and it is where the Qiyamah will take place. So the Prophet ﷺ predicted that there will be 3 armies, an army in Sham, an army in Iraq, and an army in Yemen. And he told Ibn Hawala, choose the army in Yemen. I already mentioned, in Sham. I already mentioned another hadith that I mentioned right before going for Hajj. We mentioned that when I mentioned the concept of the Mahdi. We went over this hadith quickly. It is in the 6 books, the authentic hadith, Sunan Ibn Majah, where our Prophet ﷺ said, this is about the Mahdi. We jumped to the Mahdi part. There was a phrase there I glossed over, and that is, يَقْتَتِلُ عِنْدَ كَنْزِكُمْ ثَلَاث كُلُّهُمْ إِبْنَ خَلِيفَةٍ. 3 sons of a Khalifa will fight amongst you at your treasures.
La IA en 2025 es como Bitcoin en 2013. Empieza ahora para no arrepentirte después. Sé más rico que tus amigos dominando herramientas de IA dedicando solo 15 minutos al día. Primero, deja de desplazarte. Segundo, realiza un cuestionario de 1 minuto. Tercero, dedica 15 minutos al día para aprender nuevas habilidades. Y por último, conviértete en un maestro de las herramientas de IA. Pruébalo ahora.
No, I think it was a small ad break. Let's go back. A few more minutes left. Play it on. I think you disconnected. I muted me.
Rather, there will be a treasure of the ummah. Oil, natural resource, Allah knows best. There will be a treasure belonging to the ummah. And 3 sons of a khalifa, 3 princes. All of their fathers are royal family. All of their fathers are ruling. So 3 sons of a khalifa will fight one another. So these are within the ummah. This is the internal civil war that we talked about. And none of them will be victorious. They're all 3 going to fail. None of them will be victorious. And then the black flags will come from Khurasan, and then the Mahdi, and then the hadith goes on. So we jump to the Mahdi, but where does it begin? There will be an internal civil war. And what this hadith shows is that the Mahdi will come at a time when the Muslim ummah itself is internally fighting. And the Mahdi will unify the ummah from within. This is pretty clear, that the Mahdi will unify the ummah. The ummah will need a leader. The ummah will need somebody they can trust, somebody whose integrity is beyond doubt, and the person that they will look to and the person they will unanimously go behind is none other than the Mahdi. So there will be massive civil war, but the Mahdi comes and that civil war will be finished, because how can now you fight when the Mahdi is there? So this is a very clear indication that there shall be a time of massive internal civil war between the ummah. And frankly, when you look at what is happening now with the internal superpowers, and I don't like mentioning names, but you use your common sense and knowledge of politics. Right now, there's already massive wars going on. Right now, Muslims are dividing amongst themselves, each one of them doing its own, and Muslims are being harmed in the process. Allah musta'an. What's even worse, by the way, is that these are being used by non-Muslims, right? The problem comes, the superpowers of the world are using their proxies in these regions. Each one of them thinks that they will be the lapdog of the big superpower. In reality, the superpowers never care about their lapdogs. In any case, I go into my tangents here. What I'm saying, we should be slightly terrified. No, we should be very terrified, looking at what is happening in the world and looking at these ahadith about the end of times, and Allah knows best. So this is the issue of the internal war.
The arrival of Imam Mahdi is one of the significant events foretold in Islamic eschatology, signaling the approach of the Day of Judgment. According to hadiths, Imam Mahdi will be a righteous leader, descended from the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ, and will bring justice and peace to a world filled with oppression and corruption. His name will mirror the Prophet's, and he will unite the Muslim Ummah at the time when division and chaos are rampant. His leadership will restore the true teachings of Islam and prepare humanity for the final stages of the world. The period before the emergence of Imam Mahdi is described as a time of great turmoil and widespread wars, conflicts which will engulf nations, leading to the loss of countless lives and leaving humanity desperate for guidance and stability. This era will be marked by moral decay, injustice, and widespread oppression, creating an urgent need for divine intervention. These wars are seen as both a test for humanity and a prelude to the promised relief that will come with Imam Mahdi's arrival. During this time, excessive wars will not only devastate societies, but also test the faith of believers. Prophecies describe battles that will reshape the political and social landscapes, culminating in a great war, often referred to as Al-Malhama Al-Kubra, or the Great War. This war will involve major powers and will result in immense destruction. Yet, amidst the chaos, the sincere believers are encouraged to remain steadfast, uphold their faith, and prepare for the trials to come. The arrival of Imam Mahdi will mark the beginning of a transformative era. Guided by divine wisdom, he will establish justice, eliminate oppression, and restore balance to the world. His leadership will be a beacon of hope, guiding humanity back to the path of righteousness. For Muslims, These events serve as a reminder to strengthen their faith, practice patience, and uphold justice in anticipation of the ultimate promise of divine justice and peace. May Allah forgive our shortcomings, and may Allah guide us to the straight path.
Help us build an Islamic studio at
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. It's 11:33. We're going to round up our program right now on the Palestinian segment. I think Faiz Doc is being hounded by people within this area, and he sent us a message right now to say salams. I understand, Maf. These people can't face me, but keep sending disgusting messages to me. This was my response to them. They're listening, so let's see if they got the bite of the bark. So he's obviously being harassed by people in the area that he stays in. So he needs to know that he's got our support as well for whatever stand he may make.
Inshallah.
All right, we're going to come to the end of the Palestinian segment right now, and I think it's important for you to note that since October 7, 2024 till now, this nighttime program particularly always mentioned Palestine. We'll always keep on mentioning Palestine and the suffering of the Palestinians until there's a ceasefire completely, so that annihilation and extermination and the genocide and ethnic cleansing comes to an end. If you want to recall the podcast from my introduction, for you to remind yourselves how hopeless we are and what we've done as Muslim Ummah, you can more than welcome us for that podcast. Thank you to, from the Durban studio is Spoon Kizi. Here in our studio in the Durban Summer Souk, it's Asif and Zach. And thank you from Doc himself and myself, Brother Muhammad, for Yawa. Until we meet you next time in the Durban studios. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Where olive trees once swayed, many streets that were once filled with stories old, now just whisper of the tales of lives untold. Shattered dreams and broken homes, but heroes lay for the roses. Many streets that were once filled with stories old. From peaceful homes to the loudest cries, to the innocent soul.